Okay, welcome to the Stampscapes lab. I love this card that I just made, experimented with the other day, and I wanted to do another version of it. So, using different types of combinations of surfaces and media, maybe, from the printable vinyl holographic sticker paper, silver foil, and the pearl style paper down here. Okay. So I thought I would try, I don't know, some different looks at this construction here, this composition. I thought this time I would go for a couple of antique style papers like this. And for the Seaside Cove reflective area, we would go with a gold. So I'm going with this vintage style paper because it's a warm tone paper. And then we'll have the reflection area down here with the gold this time. All right, so what I'm going to do this time around, instead of pasting everything and approaching it that way, I'm going to keep these components separate until I stamp out the different images on them, and then I'm going to put it together after that. And I think it's just going to be easier because I'm not going to be working around like a ridge or something like this, these different elevation changes between the different thicknesses of papers that I'm going to be using. Okay, so that being said, when you get these types of pre-printed papers, just find some types of inks that work best on them for you. Test it out, you know. Now these papers right here are meant for like running through an inkjet printer, but you can write on them or whatever, but they are coated with a little bit of ink. Something like a VersaFine Clair, I would think, would work really well on this type of paper. Dye-based inks can work on it, but some of them you might run into a little bit of kind of resistance because these are printed over with this, you know, this vintage type of patterning on them. I've really come to like this hybrid ink right here of mine. But again, you know, a StazOn would work fine too. Okay, so let's get a couple things printed out on here first. And let's go with my... I'm going to stay with the tropics here. I feel like playing around with my... new cabins, but I don't know, just kind of baby sea turtles kind of hatching out, and you know, with some cabins around doesn't seem appropriate. You know, it seems ready it'd be like invasive a little bit. Okay, now I'm going with my pre-stamped moons, okay? And the moon here is from the nature set number 35. A nice big moon, and that's with my nighttime cabins, cozy cabins. But with the moons, I have painted them with the folk art, glow-in-the-dark paint. And I've given it like 4 coats, though, okay? I kept testing... a big sheet of them. I didn't just do one at a time. I did a whole sheet of this, so I'd have like several glow-in-the-dark moons. And then, you know, because I'm working like this, it's like making cookies or something like that. You just paint them over, and then I sprinkle them with the luminous powders, which are glow-in-the-dark powders, just to give it a little bit of extra, I don't know, I guess, glow-in-the-dark strength. Because that's always the problems with... liquid media, especially glow in the dark, if you want them kind of reactive and light, you want them to retain light. So you have to give them a pretty decent layer of paint, and it just seems to work better if you do it in layers. You kind of let it dry overnight, or I don't know, a couple hours at least. All right, so this is my Pine Island, by the way, that I'm stamping out here. I move this one a little bit over, and this one's kind of a little bit less. I don't want it too kind of symmetrical here. I want it a little bit off center. And in a reflection card, you want this kind of your focal points to be fairly low on the horizon here, just so that it reflects better in that reflective mirrored area below, okay? Now, one of the things is I don't want this moon to be in front of my trees, so it'll go something like right here. It's like a moon rising. I guess you can kind of flip it around like this, and you can even put it, like cut it off right here, and this would be a moon on the horizon. Then you'd have this half moon reflecting in that lower area right in here. But I think I want a little bit of a bolder moon just because I want more of a light source when I flip off the light. The more glow in the dark you have in there, the stronger the glow will be. Okay, now there's different colors of glow paints that I have. It comes in these little packs of like 12 different, I don't know, paints or something like that. So you can kind of match your colors. You don't have to go with one color of, like glow paints or glow powders. You can kind of mix and match depending on what colors you have. So, there's a little bit of warmth to it. This is maybe a little bit too orange, but, you can go for like a couple different versions of it on there. Just depending on what the color of your paper is. But that's really some pretty fun stuff. I feel that just the basic kind of greenish tinge matches pretty well with this right in here. Those glow-in-the-darks, they have their own kind of look to them, so you just get as close as you can. We're not going for realism here. Okay, but that's going to be glued down right in here. So this component is already done, and that's one of the benefits of starting off with a pre-printed paper like that. You know what I mean? You could put in some extra little touches in here if you want to. Some extra coloring. You can go in here with colored pencils, something like that. But you don't really have to if you don't want to, and you just paste this down. Okay, so let's go with the bottom components. Okay, so down here, I have some of these. I've created this kind of this I forgot the name of it. Vignette. I know it started with a V. This vignette around here to frame off my little turtles like that. It can, and it makes it look more like moonlight is shining on there, right? So one of the things, I didn't do that the other day, pre-printing all that down here. So I thought, I should have done that. So let's do it here. Okay, so let's go with, let's stamp out the baby sea turtles first, right in here, okay? And then we'll work around those, just so I know where they're going. This is the baby sea turtles large, okay? And, I have to keep in mind where the, the seaside cove is going to go, so I don't want to go too low with it. Or too high, I should say, up on here. I'm kind of holding this down a little bit longer because of that coated, pre-printed ink on here, to give it that vintage look. We get our little baby sea turtles scampering out, trying to make a run for it. Run to the water, run to safety. Okay, now on here we have our little pebbly textures in there, and that's my little Tiny Rock Small. It's like the most unassuming, let's see where this is going to go. Let me just make note of it. Okay, so that water line is going to be right here, okay? So I just need to go up as high as that. But see, this little rock used in combination with itself makes for a really great texture like that, okay? Look, you just kind of build that up like that. It's kind of nice working on this paper. It's kind of absorbent, so it's giving me a really great variation on value impression strength. So this is how I'm doing it. I'm doing it from the outside in so that I get the strongest, darkest impressions. And see, as I move in, it's a lighter impression in here. So it's going from dark to light. And that's how we get this dark to light vignette going darker on the outside, lighter on the inside. So you just have to keep in mind that you're doing it from the opposite way over here. I'm probably going a little bit higher than I probably think, than I need to, because the seaside cove's going to, stamp right in here. But, it's better to stamp out a little bit more than you need, rather than laying that down. It's like, oh, I have a big gap in between there. I mean, you can always add more, but, if you can take care of it right in the beginning and save yourself a little bit of time, that's good. See, the more kind of layers you put down, it just reads as kind kind of like a gravelly textural sand. I'll put a few in here like this too. And you can go for a lighter impression too by just tapping it down like that, okay? Now look at this. I've added these rocks in here, and I've done it in a manner where this is kind of like adding some tone in here because of those changes of value. On the scene yesterday, or on that first trial version of the this composition right here, I added in some extra tone in here with some kind of sponging technique to make it a little bit darker out here, but I don't think I really need to on this one. On that other one, I was working with the pearl paper, which is pretty interesting. It's going to be more reflective than this, okay, but this is, you know, it'll kind of match that top portion a lot nicer, going with, you know, two versions, or two pieces of this, you know, for that represents sky and surface down here. Okay, so the reed's large, kind of a spindly grass, you know, little turtles, baby sea turtles need a little bit of cover, so they're, you know, coming out of a little area like that. So don't be afraid to stamp over some. It kind of obscures some of them. So in this case, I usually don't obscure things, but these little guys are kind of hiding from, I don't know, different predators. But they're going at night, so they have a little bit of a better chance than going during the daytime with, you know, seagulls and things like that, eating them up. All right, so this is what we have going for our piece right now. It's it's not done, but, you know, we're getting there. Okay, something like that. Now, just the Seaside Cove alone right in here, just stamped right over the top of that, might be really interesting. But we're going for this reflective type of thing. But man, you can really come up with a really fast, I call this a horizon card right here, where you don't have anything kind of reflecting in here. So this would be like, you know, where the Seaside Cove would go with just some water. But man, we're talking about a, let's see, I don't know, like almost like a 10-minute card, you know, and a pretty dynamic one. Okay, so our foil like this. This is a 5.5 by 8.5 right here, but I'm just going to use a small portion of it, like it right up top like that. Now, our foil is going to require a different type of ink, okay, than, you know, unless you've used a StazOn for that area down there, which you could. But a StazOn is the one of choice, or the stamp, you know, pad of choice, or type of pad, you know, choice. You can use, if there's other types of solvent-based pads out there, kind of more of a permanent ink, good, you know, those are fine too. Okay, now this is 5.5 inches wide. Don't just ink up 5.5 inches, ink up more than that. Just so you don't have like some part missing when you stamp it out. Okay. You know, you won't have some part missing on accident. Okay, excuse my head here. I'm trying to get right up on the edge there. Give it a good impression, you know. StazOn ink really dries. This is a big stamp right here, so have, you know, a decent number of padding underneath. When you stamp this out, and you see how I'm working across from edge to edge to give it that full amount of coverage like this. That's my initial kind of cleaning of my stamps like that. I just kind of rub it on the paper to get the excess ink off. The StazOn ink was probably already dry. Okay. That ink is right on there. Okay, you see that? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim out the base of this stamp. It has a little bit of variation on the bottom, but I mean, you can stamp it. You can cut it straight across if you want to, but I'm just going along with the contour of the waves. You can see that right here. Okay, and that is going to, let's get our bearings here and let's see how this is going to go. We have this right here. And this is going to get glued on right here, okay? And then we'll have our moon right up here. And you can see that moon reflecting in the water like that, okay? All right, now here's what I'm doing. We're going to do some tweaks here, though. Do you see that? Here's the biggest thing about this. We have three different, really different looking surfaces right here. And we don't have to get them to match more than, you know, what they already are. But just with a little bit of effort, it can match a lot better, okay? So see, the biggest thing is this is fairly dark right here, going down into this area right here, okay? So what I'm going to do, let's see, let's keep this really easy. Let me just use a black colored pencil. It would probably be easier for me to take like a cotton ball and just to streak in some additional black ink in here. But I don't know, some people, you know, they haven't done that type of blending before. So I'm going to do this with a colored pencil. And let me see, this is going to go right here, okay? So let me just make a little mark right here so I just know where that edge is there, okay? So there it is right here and here. And what you're going to do is you're going to do this, you know, type of coloring like this right in here. And see, I just want it a little bit darker right around where that, the edge, the bottom edge of that seaside cove is going to go. See this right here, it's like a little like triangle right here, like that. So it gives it that rounded type of look right in here, okay? So you go a little bit darker right in here, and then do a little bit of a lighter one right in here, okay? You're just kind of reiterating what's already going on. It's a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, but we need to go a little bit darker to match that, okay? See right there? Let's go even darker right here, okay? And just go right underneath it. This is where it's better to glue this down afterwards, you know, just because you can move this out of the way and get right up to where that's going to go right there, okay? See, it's where it's darker here, and it gets lighter right over here. Let me see, let me add a little bit more of that in there like that. I'm being a little bit conservative by staying pretty light right in there, but it probably will look better if I go a little bit darker. Okay, let's see, let's do the same thing right here. Let's round this area off a little bit more too. Let's go like this and make it a little bit kind of more oval shape in here and vignetted, you know. So the vignettes often look good with the like the corners darkened, okay? 4 corners. That's why on this vintage paper you can see this one dark corner. It's because this is a quarter page, and so, you know, all 4 corners of a 8.5 by 11 are darkened. So you get, you know, when you're using a quarter piece, you get one kind of corner that's you know, darkened like that. All right, so see that? It goes like that. Let's take a look here. And see, that kind of matches up a little bit better. See how this kind of transitions right into that foil better. So this right here, this is a little bit lighter, and that's a little bit darker. So, I mean, you can go a little bit darker if you want to. Like that. And it'll just, you know, like I said, it transitions into that gold a little bit more, you know, kind of gracefully, instead of having this like really abrupt, you know, of an edge right on there. So you go like that, and see how that kind of blends in like that. Kind of brings the focus of attention right down here. This looks like a little spotlight now. Okay, let's see. Let's go a little bit darker right there too. See how that looks? Okay, and like so. Okay, so I'm going to glue all my different components together right now. So this is kind of it's a real thin, very cheap, you know, almost like copy paper weight paper. So you can glue this down if you want to. You can use your tape runners. But sometimes when I use my tape runners on this, you know, I do it on the corners and I do a couple in the middle like that. But sometimes I find that after a while it seems like a little bit floppy on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick spray. And I use the Super 3M Super 77. This is like a really old can of it right here. This is like the newer can. And it's just a multi-purpose adhesive, and it gives me really good coverage. You know, one squirt, thin squirt over the, the back of these. And then you just lay it right down in there, and it goes in there really smoothly. So I'm going to go outside and do that, and then I will come back in. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the moon in there quite yet. I might just glue that down when I come back. But we'll start off with these 3 components. So you go like this. You get some spray adhesive on this. Put it in a box or something and, put that spray adhesive on. I use a cardboard box. Then you have this card base. And then you have it folded like this. And then you lay that down. So it goes right up to the edge like that. And then you lay it down like that. Don't touch it down like this. Oh my God, I accidentally laid it down because this stuff really sticks. So kind of just lay it right down there. Just use a really light touch. And then you just lay it down like that. Try to get out all the air bubbles too. Or if you have an air bubble in there afterwards, and just kind of work it out. But you have to do it pretty fast because the spray adhesive dries really fast. Okay, so we'll go and take care of that. Oh, and then after I lay this one down like this and glue this down, I'll take the back of this, put some more on that, and we'll glue that down right in there. And we should have the foundation for our reflection card, reflection/horizon card. All right, let's take a look at this right now. Look at all my components are really just beautifully kind of flat in here. It's one of the benefits of the spray adhesive. And my tape runner is really convenient too. Oops, I got some cotton on it. But I don't know, just if you want a really flush, connection, contact between, the 2 different surfaces that you're bonding, the spray adhesive is a really good way to go. Okay, so, now one of the things is when I put in all these 3 components, I'm usually off a little bit, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of an overhang or something like that off the 3 edges, okay? So what I did was I just took this, and in my paper trim, I trimmed off these 3 sides like that, because this is, I'm off, I don't know, whatever, not an eighth of an inch, but probably 1/16 of an inch, going in one way or another. So you don't just have like these pieces of paper like sticking out, underneath your card base and, every direction. So and it just gives it a really clean, flush look. Okay, let's take a look at our moon. Okay, and we're going with the big moon. I do have this smaller moon right here, but the big moon's really the way to go. And see that right there? I can really see it really nicely reflected in that area right down there. I can't go too low because then I start going over, the front of those palm trees like that, and that's not going to be too good. Now, I was telling someone, I put on my powder on here, but I could have, if I knew what color, I was going to be using this on, I can do a little bit of brown or, kind of this similar type of color on to my moon. But I have some powders already on this, so I don't think I want to color over that. I have some of the luminous powder on there, specifically. So I got some glitter on this. Glitter gets everywhere. Okay, so I think I'm going to glue this down right about right here. I usually go with the lighter area down below, like about like so. And let's use our Barely Art glue right here. Okay. Get that placed down. I mean, this card could practically be done. But let's, I'm going to add in some embellishment on this. We're going to try some more of that powder down below in the waves to be kind of this glowing bioluminescent element in the wave section. I think, I'm going to see if I have how this powder will harmonize with that top portion. Okay, so see these areas down here in these waves, right? That it's on the stamp. That moon reflecting in there is so cool. But these lighter areas of the stamp itself, those are the areas that I'm going to try to apply some of the glow-in-the-dark powder. So we have this kind of, sea foam mist, or, in this case, I guess when you flip off the lights, it's supposed to look like bioluminescent, whatever critters down there. All right, so let's see. I just used a paintbrush like this. I think kind of a flatter one might be good, like this, because I like to go for kind of like a, little touch. Maybe this is the one that I use. This one's a little bit more of a round. I don't have too many paintbrushes because I don't paint that often. This one be, nah, I guess this one would be okay if I can get it flat enough, but I think let's go for this one right here, of the choices that I have. Okay, we got our paint right here. Let's get the powder that I'm going to use on here too. I'm just going for just the sky blue, I think. I don't know. Here's a yellow green too. Dare we use both? Oh, here's the blue green right here. There's so many different, like, slight variations. Maybe I should have marked what I had on this one right here, because you can't really tell too much of a difference right here. Maybe the yellow green's not in there. But the sky blue and the blue green are probably on this moon. I did them all differently with, different combinations of paint. Oh, I want to try something else too. I think I want to put a couple little flashes in here of glitter too. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Okay, I don't need too much of this because I'm not going to be like slathering this paint down. Although yesterday when I was doing it, or whatever it was, 2 days ago, it had occurred to me, yeah, maybe I was being a little bit conservative with the paint on these waves because I was kind of concerned about how this looks like in just regular lighting. I don't know. I was catering it towards, I don't know, like an even presentation. What does it look like in regular light, like this? But then what does it look like glow in the dark too? The more of this that you lay down here, the more it's going to stand out in the day, regular lighting. But the more you lay down and not slather it, but build it up on the surface for that dark presentation, the glow-in-the-dark presentation, the more you have to kind of lay down. So the more kind of slightly awkward it might look in regular light. So you're sacrificing a little bit, in some way. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see if we can get kind of the best of both worlds here. Still playing around, still, kind of experimenting here a little bit. The thing that's kind of interesting here is as I lay down this water-based acrylic on top of this gold, I really find that a lot of that gold is kind of showing through. It's making this paint look kind of a little bit yellowish, which might be good. I don't know. It might be harmonizing with that the foil a little bit more. I don't know. So I'm going a little bit higher up here this time too. Like I said, I couldn't really see too much. Now I'm going to double layer these really kind of small applications here because I couldn't really see them in the dark because they probably just weren't retaining enough light, because it was just such a small, thin application. But maybe I can go for a thin application but have it kind of built up. so that it's capturing more of that light. Now the reason why I'm doing this and the powders is just there's a slightly better chance that we'll be able to see more of the glow-in-the-dark properties if we have it kind of double layered. We have the paint and the powder on here. I don't know. Hopefully. I would think so, because it's just another layer of that type of medium with that type of quality or property, the glow-in-the-dark property. Okay, so I'm just going to go with the blue-green here. I have a feeling that's the color up there. Okay, so you have all that laid down like that. I don't think we need to have it on there for too long before we just kind of tap it off. I don't know, should I save that? Maybe I'll save that and pour it back in the bottle. Okay, so we get that little buildup like that, okay? This right back in here seems a little bit much when looking at it regular daylight like that. Oh, I see here too. One of the things about this powder too, it's all over here, so you just have to kind of like wipe it off like that. Okay, that looks better. It's kind of coated. It didn't just stick to only the the glue. So I feel like I'm doing some archaeology or something like that. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Yeah, especially right in here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, that looks a little bit better, right? Okay, let's just keep it simple. I would do some splatter painting down here with some of the Dr. Martens bleed proof white, just to get a little splashes in my ways. Okay, but this is reading as kind of highlighting on here, right? Just in normal daylight. That paint and powder doesn't look too bad during daylight. I didn't think it would harmonize really well. I mean, when we see it at this angle, it's kind of weird, but this is the angle right here. See, this is right here. There's nothing reflecting on it, but my ceiling up here, so it's like so dark, so there's huge amount of contrast, but this is reflecting down here, and this is how people are going to be looking at it, okay? All right, so let's add in a few little highlights around in there. Doing this over the top of that little powdery area, we get a little bit of clogging periodically, but we'll see if we can get away with it. These pens are made pretty well these days, these acrylic paint pens. Now, if you have a glow-in-the-dark pen, like an extra fine, I don't know if those exist out there, use that instead. I don't, so I don't think I do. I don't think there's in my multi-pack of these pens, I don't think there was a glow-in-the-dark version. Okay, so see, I'm kind of like making these splashes around these rocks down in here. Hopefully you can see that on the video here. And kind of in these closer waves right here, we'll do this little thing. They call it like spindrift. It's that little kind of mist that's coming off the top of the wave, or it could just be highlighting too. But this is, I don't know, it doesn't make for too bad of a, like, just a regular light, daytime looking scene, I think, right here. Like that. Or not daytime, but just regular light on here. We got the moon in there, so it's not daylight. Okay, a few little highlights down here in the water with the pen. I'm kind of just highlighting the areas of the design. It's kind of hard to see when printed on this, foil, like this gold foil. It kind of looks dark right in there, but there's these little areas that are highlighted on the design itself. So I'm just kind of reiterating that, to some degree, like that. Okay. Now down here, let's bring in some of this little texturing too, and kind of sand or whatever, you know, sandy, wet sand has this glistening type of property. I can't really see too many of these dots in the lightest of areas, but what you do is you put some of this down in here, and it looks like you turn what this would represent as sand into wet, glistening sand, okay, by putting some of this white dot in here, okay? You don't have to put it like everywhere, but you can kind of cluster it around a little bit too if you want to. Okay, it kind of makes it a little bit more of a, like this magical lit area down here with that glistening kind of surface like that, okay? Now, one of the things I was mentioning was I was thinking about going with, I have this chunky glitter, so I thought we can give this area, just in a couple areas, a little bit of a kind of flash like this. See this right here? This is a chunky glitter. It doesn't have to be chunky. This one happens to be holographic, so it'll flash different colors. Now, I don't want to go too overboard with it in this one. It's like sometimes I kind of experiment around with things, and then it's like, okay, that worked, and then you know, the next one we might go crazy with this. But let's just see how this looks here. Let me pour a few of these out. See, that looks like real purplish, but on here it looks real gold. It always kind of is interesting to me, that dynamic. Okay, let's see. Let's see where to put some of this. I think I'm going to put some of that glitter, some of that flashy, larger pieces in kind of my wave area right in here. The crest of the wave, specifically. And then I'll put like some others right up in here. And what I'm wondering is if it'll flash against the reflection of that moon in there. I thought that might be cool. Okay, so let's see here. I'm just using my little scratch knife. Oh, some of these pieces, okay, now some of these pieces in this luminous chunky glitter are bits of glow-in-the-dark glitter kind of mixed in with the holographic versions. And then there's also some clear, so on this one right here, I usually don't use the glow-in-the-dark ones, but on this one, of course, we might as well. All right, let's take a look here and see if we get any kind of reflective flashes. I don't see, now that I think of it, some days when I put it up here, it flashes down here better. I don't see too much here. Yeah, that flashing on the reflection. I think maybe I need more light reflecting down there. I'm not sure. You might not need to do the glitter in there. But hey, we tried. I think you can put some of it down here too. That might be kind of interesting. But up here, that leaves a pretty good space for like a quote stamp. I usually put the quote out here. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, and we have the baby sea turtles down here. But you can almost like put it up here, and that would be kind of interesting too. All right, so I'm gonna see right now. I got a lot of light in this room right here, but let's see if we have some of the, if it's dark enough to where I can, let's see, I'm capturing some of the light right here off my desk lamp. Let's see if we can close up some of the blinds here and get dark enough to see, get kind of a little bit of an idea on the glowing properties of this card at this stage. Okay, I've just turned on one swing arm lamp, and I've turned off my other kind of I don't know, larger kind of studio lights in here. Let's turn off this lamp. I got to walk around my desk, and we'll see what this looks like. Okay, I guess it's dark enough in here. It's still a little bit light, but let's take a look at that moon there in this card. Like that. Here's the other card that was done yesterday. More reflectives, like more kind of bombastic like that, but oh, there, see, you have a little bit of that. I don't know why there's that one chunk of glitter that's like down in that reflection area showing. This area right here is probably a little bit cooler with kind of more of that pearl luminous type of powder in there. But this one right here, I don't know, it's a little bit more kind of mellow, I guess, like that. Okay, you get a little bit of flash of a couple little pieces of glitter right in here. But see, going with a little bit more of that glow-in-the-dark paint and powder up there kind of looks pretty cool. But I don't know. I mean, this makes for a pretty fast construction, or I don't know, whatever creation of this piece. Like I said, okay, so this area right in here, just toning these areas in with the colored pencils, that was one of the things that took the longest. And you don't really have to do that if you don't want to. If you want to come up with like a really fast one, you can almost like mass produce this, because it's just a few different stamps. You need to stamp all these things out at one time. You can make, I don't know, 10 of them if you want to, or something like that. If you're going to do like a Christmas thing, it might not be the tropics and the the little sea turtles or something like that. Could be, but you can do like a winter scene. With this area up here, could be a dark paper with like pine trees stamped in like white, and that might look cool for a like a winter type of thing, and reflecting in that water down below. You can go with the larger seaside cove too, where it would get a little bit more coverage like down here. Maybe I'll try that. But anyways, kind of a warm toned version of this, a little bit more antique looking with the antique paper, for just a different version of this little kind of moment right here. Let me see something right here. I'm going to remove that little piece of glitter right there on that moon. Oh, it might have been like glow-in-the-dark glitter or something like that. Maybe that was the glow-in-the-dark piece right in there. Okay, that looks better. So just, I don't know. I think the glitter down there didn't really work. I can't see it flashing like at all. I thought it might flash a little bit in the day, the regular lighting, but it really didn't do too much. So just a different version right here. A little bit more quiet of a version, if you can call kind of this reflection card with glow-in-the-darks kind of a quiet card, but yeah, a little bit more mellow of a thing than, holographic, starry glitter paper, and stuff like that, and pearl papers down below. But just a little quiet moment in time with the baby sea turtles, in that whatever, that magic moment of them hatching and going down to the sea. There's something about, I think in some turtles or something like that, I don't know, it's like time, there's certain times of night or something like that, or they're drawn to the moonlight or something like that, or, so if you have these little kind of glowing little phosphorescent algae in the waves or something like that, maybe it would be it would add to that notion of them kind of heading towards the light. Because the moon's got to set at some point in time. But look at those reflections right back there in the distance, too, of those islands down there and that gold water like that. I really like that look in there. So, anyways, Really fun stuff. It's really kind of fun to create these types of cards like that, these reflection cards, and to look at the different areas because we don't really, I mean, we're doing this stuff with the idea of creating this kind of reflection, but the reflection areas, I mean, I don't really know exactly what to expect and what they're going to look like, especially with these different combinations. So it's always kind of interesting to see. And a lot of times I just have this whole area down here of just, bare mirrored paper. So it's kind of interesting to see what that looks like over the top of the patterns of that seaside cove in there. And I think it works pretty good. All right, so anyway, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Sorry, it's zoomed out so far. My camera's like focusing in even better during, I don't know, like really bad lighting for some reason. I can get pretty close here. It's usually like going like vastly out of focus, when I do this. Dare I go all the way? Huh. Too much lighting and too much, I don't know, struggles with focus in there? With too much light? Apparently so. Okay, that's going a little bit out of focus right there. I guess that's about as far as I can go here. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you give these little kind of reflection horizon cards a shot. I think they're pretty dynamic and really fun, and it kind of gives us a little bit of that three-dimensional type of look without having to do, really any of those three-dimensional types of construction things, which always look cool too, but, you can get that look without having to kind of do any of it. Just doing standard flat applications of imagery and of the, the card components itself.